Hello, welcome to this taste challenge. This is going to count for tomorrow. Monday's not a good day usually. Sometimes I can do it, but I just have time now. I'm going to get it over with. You hate to say it that way, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, this is the Northern Lights, established 1879. Well, actually 1971. This was introduced, but the company Hiram Walker of Canada was established in 1879. But they got bought out by Barton Imports, and now Barton Imports bottles this in Louisville, Kentucky. There's the Northern Lights. And Barton Imports was bought out by the Sazerac Company in 2009. The old growlers here. He says, "Howdy, howdy to you." Over there in New York City, New York. So the company Hiram Walker, established 1879, introduced this in 1971. Originally, it was called the Northern Light, but they changed it to the Northern Lights. I'm trying to get the light. If the light catches it correctly, it'll make the Northern Lights green and orange. Got better lighting outside. I can see it better out here. Okay, but anyway, that's just a little special effect. No age statement, 80 proof, no website listing. You used to have it listed, but it's one of the top 20 Canadian whiskey sold in the United States. Simple label. It's got a crown for the Dominion of Canada, their royal government. I know they were having I think they must have been having it looked like a patriotic celebration over there in Canada this weekend at the Ambassador Bridge connecting Detroit, Michigan to Windsor, Ontario, because I saw a video of people waving Canadian flags, and it's a bunch of people. I said, well, it's like Independence Day over there. Okay. There's these little diamonds on the bottleneck. A lot of Barton Imports brands will have these little diamonds on the bottleneck. Kind of interesting. B Aviation says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for watching. I already walked a mile and a half today. Beautiful weather out there and by vision, but it doesn't feel beautiful because it's very, very windy and cold. 48 degrees. You say, I live up north. That's not cold. Well, it's cold with the wind blowing. Okay, premium Canadian whiskey, Forty Creek from Ontario, Canada. Company founded in 1992, but this was not first sold until the year 2000. It took them years to age it, and they had to develop, get the company going. You got to distill the products, age all the different. In Canada, they age all the whiskeys separately, generally separately. The rye whiskey, the grain whiskey, like usually corn, the wheat whiskey if they're using wheat, the single malt, the barley malt whiskey, the malt whiskey, or they call it single malt in Scotland. And then they take all the separately aged products that have to be at least 3 years aged, minimum law in Canada, and then they blend them together and then bottle them. So this is bottled by Campari Canada. And it says imported by Campari America, San Francisco, California. Okay. It's not going to be much of a challenge. There's the creek next to the distillery and this little etching on the bottle. Peter says, not patriotic celebration. Anti-vaxxers clogging the border. Oh, I think they said most of those guys had that shot. They just were protesting the principle of it. Like they didn't think people should have to have that. And they wanted all the restrictions taken down. So I said, oh, that's why I said like Independence Day. Maybe it's their Boston Tea Party moment or something. Okay, so, whoops, about to pour them in the wrong glass. So anyway, that's kind of like in 1773, the anti-taxers at the Boston. That's at the Boston Tea Party, the anti-taxers. Oh boy! Now, will this taste challenge, as Peter would say, will this live up to expectations? Yes, because I expect to guess it on aroma only, to tell you the truth. On aroma only. Now, of course, the Boston Tea Party fellows weren't anti-tax. They were against the tea tax on principle. Same situation. They were saying, well, it's only a 1 penny tax, of course, which even then back then wasn't even a lot. But what happened was they gave the East India Company a monopoly over the tea importation into the United States. And their argument, which I don't necessarily agree with their argument, was we shouldn't have to pay a tax if we're not represented in Parliament in England. So no taxation, remember, without representation. We don't get to vote on the tax. They just pass it for the whole empire. And if we pay that 1 penny tax, they're going to bring more taxes in. Of course, the British counter argument was to pay for the war that defended the United States from France. What are you talking about? You don't have to be represented in Parliament. You're not a constituent of the Kingdom of Great Britain. You're a colony. So you have your own representation in the colonial legislature, the House of Burgesses in Virginia and so forth. Can't get this pour right. So a lot of people say they were just using that as a pretext to incite a conflict so that they could declare independence. In other words, they were looking for a conflict. A pretext is what you call that. And maybe these fellows at the bridge are looking for a pretext to change the government of Canada or something. I don't know. Maybe they have a bigger agenda. There's gold in that glass there, oh boy. There's copper in that glass. So the appearance is very different. I'll have to close my eyes. My eyes. The old growler says, back to whiskey, right? Oh, I'll bring in these little side topics, I'm afraid. Imagine how much different the world would be if they didn't protest then. I can imagine. Might be better off. We might be better off. Who knows? I'd have to think about it. Okay. So those interesting topics in the news are, well, they're interesting. Some people get so angry though, boy, you got to watch it. They fly off the handle. They say, oh, religion and politics, don't bring that up. Well, it's because some people are volatile and they'll fly off the handle. Not me. I actually don't do that. I just say, oh, okay, well, let me tell you what I think. It's that kind of situation. But other people get very, very angry, I'm afraid. It's a shame because then it makes it difficult to discuss things that are interesting to me. Whiskey's interesting. Well, it's funny because people are fly off the handle over whiskey. Now, but that's a trivial thing. Flying off the handle over beverages, go crazy. I'll show you all. Hey, it's a drink. It's bringing us together. Let's all get together like a big, happy video reviewing family. That's been my goal all along, you see. Still my goal. We could call this channel Unity Central. Maybe that's what I should call it, Unity Central. Unifying the beer, wine, and liquor review world. Now, you might say, you're trying to control it. You want to control that world. I don't necessarily want to control that world. I'm a benevolent dictator. A benevolent autocrat. This smells like cereal grain. You say cereal grain, eh? Yes, fermented cereal grain. Kind of rich. You can tell it's been aged at least 3 years in oak barrels. Well, what about rye whiskey in there? Peppery rye spice. I would say that's present. Oh, and by the way, both bottles have a maple leaf on them. Another usual Canadian motif. Not shocking at all. All right, all right, all right. Almond oil. Let's see. Almond oil. Or perhaps walnut oil. Now, see, when I hold these up, you can tell which is which because you know the Northern Lights is light, quite light on its own, not even in a comparative sense, and the 40 Creek is copper. So I can't look. It'll be ruined. The challenge should be just ruined. I don't know why I just mixed them again. I went back to where I had them. All right. On Aroma, I think that's a 40 Creek, but I'm not really picking up that burnt marshmallow as I saw a man and a woman call it, a couple, a duo review thing. But I was calling that creme brulee, creme brulee. So let's go with the taste. Cheers, you all. Cheers to unity. Well, you know what? That's the Northern Lights. Yes. And I know why, because it has that, John and Neely coined the term, the almond oil. See, I give credit where credit's due. The almond oil, I would say more like pecan oil or walnut oil. It doesn't contain any of those things. Canadian whiskeys are allowed to have flavors, but not that. They're allowed unless it's a flavored whiskey, and that would be categorized a flavored whiskey liqueur, but see, that would be different. Or flavored whiskey would be 80 proof. Technically not a liqueur, but really would actually be a liqueur. But in a practical sense. Heavy sweet corn, a little rye spice, and we want to focus on the word little bitty tiny bit of rye spice, but smooth, easygoing, drinkable, as much as whiskey can be drinkable, and pleasant. And for the magical closeout price at Winn-Dixie, for $4.70. Wait, I'm about to look down. $4.75. Can you believe it? They wanted to get rid of the 750s and go to the handles only. So they put them in a discount basket. I said, $4.74. The tag said $4.74, but it rang up $4.75. Well, I wasn't going to quibble over a penny, but isn't that one of the best deals in the world for whiskey of any class? Oh, yes, it is. $4.74, full size bottle. Come to find out, last year I could have bought, might have changed now, but I could have purchased what you call it, James Fox Canadian blended whiskey for $4.17 a bottle. But I already have a bunch of that. I don't need. I could have bought a whole case, 12 bottles for $50 even, $50. But I mean, what am I do with it? This is a challenge that is not exactly living up to expectations, because I thought it was going to be a sure shot, and it's a little more difficult than I had believed. But it's because they both have this nut oil flavor, and the creme brulee is not really showcasing itself today. This morning at dawn, I picked it up in a snap. But then, of course, Royal Canadian doesn't taste anything like the Northern Lights. Royal Canadian is more of a similar to Crown Royal. Now you might say they copied off of Crown Royal, those thieves. Well, there's only one little problem with that theory. The Royal Canadian was introduced in 1934, and Crown Royal was not introduced for until 5 years later. So unless they went in a time machine into the future and copied it, I don't think that would have happened. Yeah, but there's a little of that creme brulee here, or the burnt marshmallow, but they're remarkably similar. Price point. Let's talk about normal price, not these fantastically crazy prices I got. $4.75 for the Northern Lights and $9. True story, $9 for 40 Creek. Normally it's $20. Check all the websites. $19.99. I think the lowest I saw was $19.49 at Total Wine. $19.49. I got it for $9. How you like that? $9. Can you believe it? Or as Farina said in on one of the episodes of Our Gang, don't you believe me? Which one do I like better? Well, oh, I better be careful. I think they're both very nice. Are they world class? Just outstanding in every way? You think they would be this? Do you think they would be $12 for the Northern Lights and $19 to $20 for 40 Creek if they were that? No, they're acceptable and nice. You see, Canadian whiskey, kind of like bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey, will punch far above its weight. You pay a little bit, but you get a lot. Yes, the payoff is much higher than the payout, than the layout. In other words, your receipts are much higher than your expenditures, so to speak. It's not the case with a lot of products, but straight bourbon, you might pay $8.99 for a liter of Kentucky Tavern 3-year age straight bourbon whiskey. True story. I know where to buy it right now. You say, oh, for $8.99, it must be the most horrendous stuff on earth. Surprisingly, it's a very nice product. In fact, it's from Buffalo Trace, and it's quite now. Is that the Buffalo Trace bourbon that you see touted everywhere? No. It is on their website, however, buffalotracedistillery.com, and it's also on their alternative website, greatbourbons.com. Yeah, been on the market since 1903. Except for that little prohibition interruption situation. But so you could be amazed by some of these. Now, does it work out like that with beer? You buy super cut rate prices of beer and it punches far above its price point. No, that usually is not the case. They usually taste just about what you'd expect them to taste like. If it's a cheapo, it'll taste cheap. In many cases. Now there are exceptions, of course, but and then they got some hi-hat ones, very expensive ones that fall flat or just catastrophes, or as some people say, catastrophes. You're a kidder, Mr. Grinch. But this is the 40 Creek. Oh, how confused I was. Oh, how very confused. But I made it. I did it, y'all. I did it. I was like Rocky. I did it. But I didn't want to just go to distance and feel like I won. I wanted to actually win. Of course, he wanted to win too, but remember, he thought I'm so outclassed. I'm fighting a world-class boxer, and I'm a basic, a nothing. I'm in the books, the boxing directory, but over 30 years old, have accomplished zilch. If I could go to distance with the world champ, I feel like I won. I feel like I won. But here, I want to go to distance, and I want to win. I'm going the distance. All right. Whew. I seized victory from the jaws of defeat. I was really nervous for a little. In the mid part of this, I was very nervous. I thought, oh, could this be the time when I fail? But then as I kept tasting it, I realized this will not be the time that I fail. I will win. And I did. All right. So, yay. Give myself a hand. I give you a hand. Cheers to you for watching this extravaganza. Now all to the comments. The old growler says back to whiskey. Yeah, I started talking about the the events of 1775, which I love to talk about. All right, imagine how. Oh, and then we were there. Okay, good afternoon, Ron and all, says BC's Beer Reviews. Oh, BC's Beer Reviews. I watched a great video he did with the Guinness Chocolate Mint Stout, 10.8% alcohol, and he gave it a 10 out of 10 because it's that good. The only problem is it comes in an 11.2 ounce bottle. We want a full 12 ounces, doggone it. You say, but that's Irish whiskey. That's their bottle size, man. No, that beer is made in Baltimore County, Maryland, and so it should be 12 ounces. Thank you. B Aviation, Ron the Great Unifier. That's the goal. That's the goal. Others would say that's not exactly true, but I would hope that's the goal. Just Fly on the Sky says, I loved my grandpa's homemade alcohol, cherries and chocolate taste. I know a lot of people that do that. They make their own stuff. Do they use rye in these whiskeys? B Aviation, yes. Canadian whiskeys do use rye, and typically a higher percentage of rye than American whiskeys. As just a tradition, it's not a rule. Nation Lakers, hey now. Hey now, hey now. Ronnie S., one of my moderators, says, good afternoon, Ron. Nation Lakers, is cheap liquor the same as high price liquor? Well, it's all liquor. It's the same product. Now, the quality level is where you have to ask the question. This turned into a good competition, says B Aviation. I agree with that. One of the best ones so far. And we've had some great ones, you know that. Who do I like in the SB? I'm pulling for LA so history can be made 2 years in a row. Ah, right. How many times has a team won the game at home? Only once. How many times has that game been played at the team's home stadium? Only once. This would be twice. Is it better than Kessler? Oh, my goodness grief. Both of these are much better than Kessler, in my opinion. Same price. Actually, the 40 Creek is more expensive, but the Northern Lights is the same price as Kessler, but it outclasses it in every way, in my opinion. You might disagree. Matthew Stafford, who would have guessed? Not me. Not me. And you get a greater effect from it too, obviously. Yeah, I get a greater effect from it too, obviously. Hey, Ron, I'm going to New Orleans next month. Would you recommend staying near the Superdome or out in Metairie? There's a good price option just southeast of the Superdome. Southeast of the Superdome. I mean, like on Poitras Street or Magazine Street? Oh, well, it depends. It depends. I guess Metairee's fine. Then you got to get out to New Orleans. You can take a bus or a Uber or a taxi or whatever. If you have your own vehicle, well, if you have your own vehicle, just park in Metairie. It's right there. It's not far, and then you could just drive, go park in New Orleans. Who knows? When you get back, your car might still be there. Just might still be there. You didn't answer who you were pulling for, if anyone. Oh, well, I'd like to see Cincinnati win just because of the Joe Burrow, uh, Louisiana State University connection. Yeah. But I'm not interested in either team. Cincinnati's fine. The Cleveland, I mean to say the Los Angeles, I mean to say the Anaheim, I mean to say the St. Louis, I mean to say the Los Angeles Rams are fine too. That's fine. But I think Cincinnati going to win 24 to 22. Kind of a strange score. Huh? It's going to mess everybody's numbers up, right? 24 to 20, 24 to 22. It'll mess all your numbers up. Sorry. There's a lot of history behind the Rams. Yes. In fact, they're the reason there's the Cleveland Browns today. If you look at the history, that's an indirect relationship, but there is a reason for that. And not to mention, they were the first team in history, I think, that we know of, professional, college, or high school, whatever, to have emblem on their helmet, because they had an artist who played for the one of the players back in the 1940s, I think 30s actually, was an artist. You like to paint. So he said these uniforms are so bland, blue leather helmets with blue jerseys and gold pants. He said it's just so dull. And he was thinking about it, and so he asked the coach, could I paint something on the helmet? Coach said, okay. So he painted the ram horns going down either side of the helmet, curling up like a ram. Oh, they said, that's a big hit, So he hand painted all of the helmets, hand painted them. And that was that they kept that ever since. First team to have that, ram horns. And then slowly other teams, well, you had to have the technology for the decals later, the good high heavy duty decals that would stay stuck. And so then most of it in the 1950s, it started with numerals, which are easy to produce. And then in the 1960s, well, that was it. Everybody wanted to have insignias on their helmet because they had the technology then for decals. You had Viking horns and Patriots hiking the football and buffaloes grazing in the prairies and fleur-de-lis and birds of all sorts and jet planes and everything else on the helmets. Beerhound retracted a message. I wish I could retract some of the things I've said in the past. As a Lions fan, it's crazy how much happier Saffer seems now just 1 year after leaving. Well, you can understand that. Have you ever tried Cutwater Cali High? I've tried a number of Cutwater. I've reviewed 2 Cutwaters, and they were good. I didn't buy them full price. Just Mathern's had them. I think it's more than 2, but I did my research and only showed 2 popping up. But they make the pre-mixed vodka, gin, tequila-based cocktails, rum-based, really good products. Yeah, I would recommend those, especially if you get them on a discount like I did. Okay, let's wrap this up because we got beer. We got to get to beer, y'all. Los Angeles is the second metro area after New York. They have 2 teams share the same stadium. That's right. Giants and Jets over there in New Jersey at the stadium. Have you ever tried? Oh, can I come bring you a bottle of a random cheap whiskey when I'm in the area? Laughing out loud. Well, I'll probably be busy, but I hope you have a good time in New Orleans. B Aviation laughing. They have rums. Yeah, rums. Cutwater. It's not just rum though. Cutwater Spirits. Aren't they from San Diego? All right. Well, I think at one time they were somehow related to Constellation Brands. I'll probably be busy, laughing out loud. Actually, I probably will be busy. It's not just a story. It's the truth. I just woke up, so I'm typing. I'm a typo king. Well, that's okay. All right. Well, I can't. Ronnie's saying, ha ha ha. I can't really declare when I'm gonna give a slight advantage to 40 Creek, but not much of one. So 40 Creek, it'll cost you about $7 more per bottle, but I don't think you're getting a $7 benefit. So if I was looking to repurchase these, and I would not be looking to do that, but let's say if I was, I think I would just go with the old classic, the Northern Lights, been on the market 51 years. Is it any kind of great thing? No, but it is pretty cheap, and look at the Northern Lights coming across the leaf. It does okay. It does all right. It's always a hoot, Runaroo. Thanks, Beerhound. But y'all don't go away for too long, because I'll be back with a beer taste challenge. A beer taste challenge. Get ready. Can you believe it? People are like, we can believe it. You'll be doing liquor competitions. No, I won't be. No more liquor competitions till Tuesday morning. Hey, my name's Ron too, says Nation Lakers. Ronald is such a common name. I think they even had a president of the United States named Ronald.